So, are you wondering why you're after menopause, you're just simply unable to lose weight? So, let's talk about some of the most common reasons. My name's Michelle. I'm a family nurse practitioner and mostly help people with weight loss, but also help people balance their hormones. So, number one reason, no surprise, is our hormone levels. So, after menopause, your estrogen, your progesterone, your testosterone levels really just go down to next to nothing. And so, that is primarily the reason why you have start having issues with your weight. And I can really relate to this because even though I struggle with my weight off and on for years, I could follow a diet and have success. I could lose weight. And I was never really long-term success until I started on semaglutide and tirzepatide, but I could, lose some weight. Then after menopause, I could follow the diet. I could do diets I did before with success, with no luck. And then I could follow, I just tried everything and follow it exact, measuring things ridiculous and not lose any weight. So it's super frustrating. So I really can relate to this period of life. So, number one reason is hormones. Now, if you're like me, I had been, even with medical background, afraid to really try hormone replacement therapy because my grandmother specifically died of breast cancer. So that's just what I'd always heard, like it's going to increase, and even told by my nurse practitioner myself that it would increase my risk and blah, blah, blah. If you want to be on it short term, that would be okay, but you wouldn't want to be on it long term. This video is not specifically about hormones, but I would encourage you to dig into that further because there was one study in particular that showed a slight increase specifically for a certain group of women, and it was a very small increase. So, for a lot of women, they've missed out on the benefits of not only having their menopause symptoms improved, but just preventing themselves from chronic diseases that come after our hormone levels are depleted. So, dig into that a little bit more. Another common reason for this issue with your weight after menopause is that your metabolism has slowed down. So that's very common. As we age, our metabolism gets slower, which means we honestly need to eat less. But if you've been in the category where you're like, I'm not eating more, I'm moving the same, and I'm still gaining weight, this could be possibly why. Now, there's some things you can do to offset that, and we're going to talk about some of those, but that is a common root cause of this issue too. Another big one that in this population and then just in my weight loss patients overall is insulin resistance. Very, very huge problem for lots of people. Very few of us in America have a normal insulin level. Now, you may be like, well, the doctors always said my labs are normal. I guess mine must be okay. More than likely, it's never been checked. Like, it's very rare for a physician to check your insulin level. It's hardly ever done. Now, you could request it if you wanted to, and maybe you've had a hemoglobin A1C, which is also a good number to know, but your insulin is going to be the first indication that your body's having trouble, um, taking care, processing your glucose. So the earlier you know that, the sooner you can address it and potentially avoid diabetes. So that's a big comment. Now, there's a lot of things you can do to help lower your insulin levels, make your body more sensitive to insulin. And I have a free ebook if you're interested in that I will link for you below. Okay, so another common issue is just stress and the cortisol levels that go up because of stress. Now, we all just have stress, just life in general these days is just stressful. This time period, though, can be stressful, especially if you're a mom. Your kids are transitioning from a child to an adult, they're leaving home, and it can be, a tough transition and more stress than you normally have. And stress increases our cortisol levels, and cortisol, your hormones really all work together. And so when one is up, it impacts the others. And so cortisol can be something that you really need to address as well. the best thing you can do for your cortisol is some self-care and make sure that you're really concentrating on getting good sleep. The next one is lack of sleep. Often this time period of our life, you've got hormone influences, you've got the cortisol, you've got this extra stress, you don't sleep as well. So it's kind of like a cycle. So it is something that kind of goes along with that time period too, but something that you can really focus on to help lower your cortisol and just help your hormone levels overall, which will in turn help with your weight. Another common root cause of weight gain in menopause is declining muscle mass. Again, just like with our metabolism, our muscle mass is also declining. And so we have to counteract that. So, our age group, most of us grew up with aerobics, just cardio. And that's just the only exercise I've ever really done. I didn't really know what to do with weight training. I knew I needed to do it, but just not really sure where to start. So I would encourage you to join a program where you can kind of learn. I'll link the one below that I use. It's great. They're short. She jumps right into the workouts. You learn a lot. She's teaching you a lot while you're doing your exercising, and that will help you. You really have to add the weight training in to increase your muscle mass, which also will help increase your metabolism. Muscle requires more calories to maintain than our fat cells. So whenever we can increase our muscle mass, we're also going to increase our metabolism. Um, Emotional eating, and that's really tied into just stress, in this time period. Lots of us are emotional eaters, and this period, with everything going on with your hormones and your kids growing up and leaving the house and just all the things, um, we can be even more apt to do that emotional eating. So hopefully that's information that is helpful as to why you can do things about this and address those things so that you can still have success. So if you have any questions or comments, just link those below and I'll get back to you.